Justice Smith. Jabari for three and the win. Yeah! He got it!
We are here to Fear Rocks News. It's Rocksville Podcast. Of course, I am your host, Lashard Binkley. You can find me on Twitter, X, at Binkley Hoops. All my written work over at Rock is on that side. Of course, you can find me weekly on Fox 26 with Nate Griffin. And on tonight's show, I want to definitely give my quick feedback on the Rockets' 119-96 win over the Los Angeles Lakers. It's the first time the Rockets played on Christmas since 2019 against the Golden State Warriors, which we won't talk about that game. That was one of the most disappointing games I've seen in a long time, so we won't go back into that game. But the Rockets were able to come away with a victory tonight. The Rockets are now 3-0 on Christmas against the Lakers. As their very first matchup ever on Christmas was their first season in the NBA, and that was 1967 when they were the then San Diego Rockets, and they defeated the Lakers, who had Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, another really good team. But the Rockets were able to come away with that victory. They came away with another victory against the Lakers, against Shaq and Kobe in 2003. And now they've come away with their third victory over the Lakers. Like I said, this time 119-96. Much better overall effort, definitely compared to that last game, where it seemed like that was probably their worst effort game of the entire season. It's one thing to lose because, you gave up a lead and you just, didn't make shots or you didn't play as good a defense, but it's another thing not to have any effort at all, which is pretty much what we saw against the Clippers. So totally opposite game tonight. The Rockets came out strong. They imposed their will early, kept it throughout the entire game. LeBron James was a non-factor. Luka, even though he scored over 20 points, for the most part, he was a non-factor. Austin Reeves went out early. I think he'd been dealing with a hamstring injury, which I don't think it really mattered because the Rockets were dominating throughout this entire game. So I wanted to give kind of three quick reasons why I think the Rockets were able to come away with this victory tonight on Christmas against the Los Angeles Lakers. And let's just go ahead and get into it. And I think the first reason, I think it's pretty obvious, was with the defense. The Rockets defense has struggled the entire month of December. This is something I've talked about on Twitter. This is something I've talked about in my articles. Rockets in the month of December have been really bad on defense and coming in this game. Before this month, in October and November, the Rockets were a top 5 defense. In some categories, they were top 2 defense. Since the month of December coming in this game, they were 4-6. They were bottom 10 in points per game, field goal percentage by opponent. They were also giving up more free throws, which meant they were fouling more because they were out of position. The Rockets have been one of the worst defensive teams in the league in the month of December. And as much as people have talked about the Rockets offense being stagnant, no ball movement, I've talked about that as well. The biggest issue wasn't the offense. The Rockets were still a top 10 offense in this month. It was just how bad their defense had been this entire month. And we saw it again against the Clippers. We saw it in that comeback win by New Orleans, where the Rockets just completely collapsed on defense in the second half. But tonight, the Rockets got back to the type of defense they were playing before the month of December. And the same defense they played against Denver in that win they had in the second game in Denver a few nights ago. They got back to that defense tonight. They held the Lakers to 96 points tonight. They were able to get into them early. Like I said, the main thing was they forced Luka into 4 turnovers in the first probably 5 or 6 minutes of the game. They just set the tone from the start. And a lot of that had to do with Tari Eason, who made his second start of the season. He was hounding Luka all over the court. As usual, he was his chaotic, active self throughout the entire game, forcing turnovers, getting blocked shots. Just being an overall irritant to Luka as he was trying to bring the ball up the court. Like I said, the Rockets forced 16 Lakers turnovers as well. And even though the Lakers did shoot 51% from the field, it just really never seemed like the Lakers got any type of rhythm because the Rockets were able to just kind of disrupt their entire offense to the point where, like I said, they were forcing a lot of turnovers. They were making the Lakers go late in the shot clock, a lot of stuff that the Rockets have been dealing with this entire month. So to be able to hold them to 96 points, even though, like I said, they shot 51%, but at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter if you can't even get over 100 points because the Rockets were limiting their opportunities. They were expanding on their own opportunities. That's kind of going to be my second reason why the Rockets were able to come away with this victory, because they were able to dominate on the boards, and that is my second reason why the Rockets were able to come away with this victory, because they absolutely destroyed the Lakers on the boards tonight. They out-rebounded the Lakers 48-25 on the boards. The Rockets had 25 offensive rebounds. I'm sorry, they actually had, they had 17 offensive rebounds. They almost had as many offensive rebounds as the Lakers had total rebounds in the entire game. And when you're a team like the Rockets, who's already one of the better shooting teams in the league, and you're still able to go out there and get 17 of your misses, even though you shot 53% from the field and even the misses, you still were able to go back and get second chances on it, you're going to pretty much win those type of games, especially when you're playing the type of defense that I mentioned in Region 1. Like I said, the Rockets are the best rebounding team in the league. They have been in the last 2 seasons. They only almost a historic pace on the offensive boards as well. And it was an entire team effort. It's not like the Rockets have a lot of games where somebody's going out there and getting 25 rebounds or 30 rebounds or anything crazy like that. The leader for the entire game was Alperensengun, who had 12, but you had Jabari Smith had 7. You had amenthompson at 7. Steven Adams, of course, off the bench, one of his better games in the last several games. He had 9 rebounds himself with 4 offensive rebounds. So it was an entire team effort. Like I said, it wasn't just one guy going out there and just dominating on the boards. It was an entire team effort. Some of the Rockets have been doing, pretty much the entire season. Like I said, they're on a pace to have one of the best, if not the best, offensive rebound season like almost the last 25 years after coming off their best rebounding season in franchise history last year. Of course, like I said, it has a lot to do with Alperensengun and, of course, Steven Adams. Even though the Rockets aren't running a double big as much as they did in previous seasons because it just hasn't worked the way it did last season. But they still are running at times, and even when Steven Adams is coming in for Alperen, he's still doing the same thing he always does, and that's go out there and rebound the ball, especially on the offensive end. Like I said, he had 4 offensive rebounds tonight, and like I said, it was just a complete team effort. The Rockets, as you can tell, were the more athletic team. That's something that I've noticed anytime I watch the Lakers play this year, that they have, of course, Luka's great. LeBron is still, a good to great player. He's definitely not the same player he was, of course. I mean, he's 40 plus years old now. But once Austin Reeves went out, they really didn't have anybody else that can really score besides Luka. Ayton, I mean, apparently he's having a pretty decent season, but from what I saw tonight, man, he just does not play with any type of force at all. And the Rockets were able to take advantage of that. If I'm not mistaken, DeAndre Ayton only had like a few rebounds tonight. And the fact that he's a 7-footer, probably like 260, 270, and he only had 2 rebounds tonight, that's pretty telling. I mean, when you have a center that only has 2 rebounds going up against the Rockets, that's a recipe for a disaster, and that's exactly what happened to the Lakers tonight. Like I said, the Rockets almost doubled them up on the boards, winning at 48-25. And like I said, they were able to cruise to the victory in part because of reason number 1, their defense, and also just because of their rebounding, because they just were able to get up a lot more shots than the Lakers. The Rockets took, Lakers only took 77 field goals. The Rockets took 90. And the Rockets also had 8 more free throws on top of that as well. So the Rockets just controlled the game. It's almost like a football team where they're able to control the clock, and they'll have the ball 3/4 of the game, and the other team only has the ball 1/4 of the time, and that makes it a lot harder for them to score, and that's exactly what happened tonight. The Rockets just dominated on the boards, got up a lot more shots, got up more free throws because they were the more aggressive, more athletic team going to the basket. And again, they dominated in the paint in part because of all those 17 offensive rebounds they were able to get. And my third and final reason why the Rockets were able to come away with this victory was because, like I said, I mentioned earlier, it was Kevin Durant and also amenthompson. Amenthompson led the Rockets with 26 points. Kevin Durant had 25 points, so they combined for 51 points. They shot a combined very efficient 20 of 34 from the field. You always know that Kevin Durant's going to be efficient. He was 8 for 14 from his game, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, and 4 or 6 from the 3-point line. And one thing I want to point out is something that he's had really good moments this year as a playmaker. Then he's also had moments where he's struggled with turnovers. This game, he was on the good side of being a playmaker. He had 9 assists, which I really don't probably even need to go look that up. That's definitely a season high for him. The 9 assists, and it's not that he had the 9 assists. He only had 3 turnovers, and of course the entire starting lineup had a great plus minus. They all had at least a 23 or higher plus minus. But Kevin Durant going out there giving you 25 points, 8 of 14 shooting, 5-5, 4-6 from three-point line. Then he's still giving you 9 assists for only 3 turnovers. I mean, you can't get more efficient, a great overall game than that. On top of that, he had 2 blocks and a steal. I mean, that's what you want to see from superstar players, especially when the team is struggling. And it was good that the Rockets were able to do that tonight. And also, like I said, Amenthompson, very efficient game, 12 and 19 from the field. Unfortunately, still can't hit a 3 to save his life, but he still had a very efficient game. 7 rebounds, 5 assists, only 2 turnovers. And again, he had a plus 26 as well. So those 2 guys really paced the Rockets and definitely helped. You could tell they were much faster, even though they had some times where they seemed like they were a little bit slow when Sengun got double teamed. A lot of times what the Lakers were trying to do was shade a player towards Kevin Durant, not necessarily double team him. And at times the Rockets were a little bit slow when they would get the ball from them off of those double teams. But overall, they played with a lot more force, and they were able to be more in a shooter's role when they were able to get the ball. And that's something like, for instance, Jabari Smith was 6 of 9 from the field, and it seemed like he was ready to shoot the ball every time that he got the ball off that double team. So Kevin Durant, Amenthompson was able to pace the Rockets. Like I said, Alperen led them in rebounds with 12 rebounds. Just overall much better game. A good way to end a very, very long road trip. The Rockets haven't been at home. I can't tell you the last time they actually played at home. It's been a long time since the Rockets played at home. They'll be back at home against Cleveland on Saturday. I will be out at that game. Definitely giving you the pre and post game and everything in between. Also, we'll be on Fox 26 tomorrow morning at 7:22 with Nate Griffin on my usual once or twice a week talking with my man Nate Griffin about the Rockets, and of course this Rockets win over the Lakers, so definitely make sure you check that out. Like I said, like I always say, I appreciate the support of people that always subscribe. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, definitely make sure that you hit that subscribe button and like button, because it helps us, and it helps us out with the algorithm. I try to bring you pretty much everything I can think of. Like I said, pre and post game, when I'm at the game, even when I'm not at the game, players warming up, practices, special events. I try to bring you a little bit of everything on this channel, highlights. So definitely make sure you subscribe to the channel. I want to continue to grow. I want to try to get to 10,000 before the end of this Rockets NBA season. We're definitely well on our way to that. Over 6,500 subscribers. So like I said, definitely appreciate the support. Make sure you do hit that like button and leave down in the comments. Let me know, what did you think about the way the Rockets have been playing, and what do you think about tonight's win? Do you think that kind of catapults them back into a winning streak? Now they're 18 and 10. They have a good chance of trying to get a winning streak now that they'll be playing a little bit more home games coming up. So like I said, the next game will be against Cleveland Cavaliers on Saturdays. Let me know what you think down in the comments about the Rockets win over the Lakers on this Christmas night. And I definitely want to say Merry Christmas to those who celebrate Christmas, and happy holidays to everyone. I definitely appreciate everything and all the support through this entire year. I look forward to a great 2026. And as usual, like I said, I appreciate your support. Make sure you check out the next episode of the Rocket Fuel Podcast.